What's going on, guys? Today we got the craziest man ever to live in comedy, George Carlin, getting interviewed by Mr. Jon Stewart. This one should be fire, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys enjoy it, and let's see what he's got to say.
When you were a kid growing up,
yeah,
you wanted to be Danny Kaye and Bob Hope. So how do you think this thing is working out so far, looking back?
Well, I knew I wanted to stand up and
40 years
be
of comedy.
silly and have people say, "Isn't he cute? Isn't he cute and clever?" And that's all it was a reward, a psychic reward. You know, when you're a kid and you find out that you can get the attention of adults and approval and a little bit of respect, and you just hunger for it, you keep going back for it. And I have, fortunately, genetic, you know, my little toolkit, my genetic toolkit I was given included a mother and father who were very funny people, could do accents and dialects and tell funny stories about what happened on the bus that morning and have a punchline. So you don't lick it off the rocks, they say in Ireland. So I thank my...
They say you don't lick it off the rocks, they say in Ireland. I think George Carlin was actually Irish. One of my commenters said that, guy. So this is fire. Bro, this is actually sick. Dude, I love seeing Irish, like, Americans talk about the culture and heritage. It's savage, because you don't lick it off the rocks, meaning, like, you don't just get it out of anywhere, because you have genetic gifts as well. Like, people are born with better gifts than others, you know?
So you don't lick it off the rocks, they say in Ireland. So I thank my grandmother's
my
milkman,
man.
actually. Which might have...
My grandmother's milkman. Yeah, a lot of Americans, guys, a lot of Canadians, they, like, divorced their people, and they left Ireland to come to America and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny, they had kids in America, but they had the sons or kids, the daughters born in America, you know, not in Ireland. So kind of funny.
Know where these things go.
His grandmother was obviously Irish. That's it.
You know, as I watch you now and through all the years of listening to your albums and things, your fascination with language.
He looks Irish, bro.
Is so apparent. Watching you work is almost like watching a musician. You know, the way you weave words and use language for emphasis and all that. Was that always a fascination for you, even as a kid?
Well, to go backwards with the question, don't forget what we do is oratory. It's rhetoric. It's not just comedy. It's a form of rhetoric. And with rhetoric,
so is this.
You look and you listen for rhythms. You look for ways to sing at the same time you're talking, and to go da-da-dun, 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 dun-dun, and dun, da-dun, dun, 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 da-da-dun, 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 da-da-dun.
That's really
it's
good.
It's just natural. My grandfather, whom I never knew, was a policeman in New York at the turn of the century, and he was an uneducated man, self-educated.
Probably Irish as well, guys. Like, I think something like 40% of the NYPD in like 1930 were Irish, something like that. They were all Irish, crazy.
And he, in the course of his adult life, he wrote out the works of Shakespeare by hand because of the joy it gave him.
That's an obsessive young man.
Yeah, and most everything is genetic. And my mother cared a lot about language, and my father was a champion public speaker of 1935. He won the Mahogany Gavel over 800 other public speakers from the Dale Carnegie Public Speaking Institute.
Whoa.
And he was great. I never knew him either.
Dale Carnegie Public Speaking Event. I've heard of that before, guys. That's huge. That's a massive event.
That's something.
George Carlin is genetically blessed, guys, for sure.
Were your parents put off by the direction that you went into when you started to go counterculture? Was it a difficult transition for them to watch?
Well, he was out of the picture. He was brilliant, and he was a top salesman in advertising, but he couldn't metabolize ethanol efficiently.
His dad was an alcoholic.
So he was given his hat. My mother was very brave. She left him. I was 2 months old, and my brother was 5 years, and she left down a fire escape. So he was gone. My mother was very kind of controlling, wanted to control my life, and was heartbroken when I began with the dirty language and the awful stuff he says about business. She was an advertising executive secretary, loved the business world, thought it was just the finest thing that ever happened. And so when I went in that direction at first, very opposed. Until one day we lived on the same street that I grew up, that I went to school in. I went to school on the same block I lived on, something like that. Corpus Christi School, and the nuns were great. It wasn't a typical Catholic school. It was an experimental progressive school that didn't have grades, didn't have any sort of corporal punishment. It was just very, very wonderful school. And the nuns, she would see the nuns in the street, and they would say, "Oh, we saw George on the Tonight Show." And she, being a bit of an actress, she would say, "Oh, It's the awful language, sister. The awful language. And one of them said to her, no, you don't understand. He's using it for other purposes. He's not just doing it for that. It's kind of like part of what he does. Don't you understand? It's this and that and so forth. So she said, oh. And from that day on, she was okay with it because the church had approved it.
Yeah, back in the day, guys, every Irish person, and still to this day, the Catholic Church has a massive grip hold on a lot of Irish people and their opinions of just certain things.
So that was that. That's how that worked.
People who deal in content that's on the edge as you do oftentimes live a life that's similarly on an edge.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those people go off the rails.
Yeah.
And we lose them and their talent. And you've been able to not do that and been able to pull it back in and...
Another luck stroke. You know, you gotta have luck in this world. Part of it's your genetic makeup, that's luck. And then what you do with it is also partly genetic, because hard work is genetic. The desire to do hard work, the willingness to work.
I don't believe that, guys, so much. You know, this is back in the 70s or 80s. You know, hard work, guys, is not genetic. Some people will be more inclined to be lazier than others, guys, but, you know what I mean? If you're anyway going to the gym or hardworking in that regard, you can be hardworking in life, period, guys. Like, maybe some people have better talents than others. Some people are physically better, mentally better, but definitely everyone can work extremely hard, guys. It's the key to everything is working hard. So I don't believe that, George Carlin. I disagree. I mean, I guess to a point it is genetic, but, you know, can't really change
hard
that.
Work
So
is genetic. The desire to do hard work, the willingness to work hard and be determined and not be turned aside, that's all genetic too. It can be altered a little and reinforced, but some of the people who had so much edgy promise, they died young. I mean, Lenny Bruce, Sam Kinison, Andy Kaufman in his way,
Sure.
Freddie Prinze, John Belushi, Bill Hicks.
Right.
And it's just, I don't know, of course Bill had a natural disorder of his own, I think so did Andy, but it's not always behavior, but sometimes it's just genetic. But it's just that I think there's a degree of luck and intellect involved in giving up things that hurt you. The drug and alcohol thing, it seems to me, comes down to this. Drugs and these things are wonderful. They're wonderful when you try them first. They're not around for all these millennia for no reason. First time, mostly pleasure, very little pain, maybe a hangover. And as you increase and keep using whatever it is, the
Facts.
pleasure part decreases and the pain part, the price you pay, increases until the balance
Facts.
is completely the other way and it's almost all pain and there's hardly any pleasure. At that point, you would hope, then the intellect says, oh, this doesn't work anymore. I'm going to die and I'll do something. But you need people around you who can help you and you need something to live for.
that is very true, guys. You know, a lot of people in Ireland, stuff like that, heavy drinkers. You know what I mean? And, you know, they limit themselves because of their drinking. I have never done any drugs. I never want to do any drugs. I love hitting the gym. You know, it depends on what kind of drugs, guys. You know, if you're taking roids, then maybe that kind of be acceptable, but I don't. So, I mean,
you have to have something to look forward to bring you out of it. You know, there are a lot of people who don't have a lot to live for, and they're sort of stuck inside.
Was there ever any fear that by giving up the drugs, you lose a bit of the genius by giving up the wild lifestyle, sanity being the enemy?
Well, that has been a canard for a long time, that most of this creativity comes from being wacky, and I'm sure there's a lot of truth in that.
yeah, for sure. Like Snoop Dogg gets a lot of inspiration from smoking weed all the time. You know, a lot of people, like Eminem was addicted to loads of drugs, you know, when he was younger. So
It's just being plain old wacky. Where the drugs are concerned and alcohol, they do seem to open a window for you. They do seem to broaden the vistas at first. The thing you have to do is learn when, you know, it's like all these great writers who became drinkers. You have to sort of like...
Hunter D. Thompson.
I find with pot, I'm not a big drug user anymore, but I have always a joint somewhere near me. Hidden. Might be hidden.
That's so funny.
Might be hidden. And what I do, and I hardly touch it maybe once a month, that would be frequent for me. But when I'm writing something, and I write perfectly straight, perfectly sober, and I write a whole lot of stuff, 6, 7, 8, 9 pages, and I really pour it out, the next day, one hit is all I need now. One hit, and it's punch-up time. time to get this.
That's kind of the same with me, guys. I kind of hopped off caffeine for a while, but now I'm hooked on Monsters, and I don't think I'm ever going to get off caffeine ever again, guys. I feel so much better. I'm doing so much good work. I feel like, also almost like, that sense of euphoria. It's crazy every single day.
Thing going. And you do find, with that sort of judicious use, I find there's some value in it.
Facts.
But most of the things we use, don't let you leave them alone. Pot does.
Too much.
For that.
Well, that's excellent. What? Sorry. You can applaud if you wish. That's more than fair. You can more than applaud.
Yes, thank you.
Why do you still care? Why do you still care enough to keep? You're at a point in your life where you could go back. You could do your month in Vegas, and Florence Henderson could open up, and you could go and hit a couple of balls and then some pinball.
Yeah.
Why do you still care so much?
Well, I'm not comparing myself to any of these people, believe me. But you wouldn't say to Picasso, when are you going to put those brushes down? Get rid of the canvas. You've done it.
When you have a purpose in life, guys, it never leaves you. You know what I mean? That's when when you're doing 10, 15 hours a day. From the age of 16 to about 22, purpose was like the gym. Obviously, I wasn't going to make anything of that. I still do fitness plans here and there, but purpose now is YouTube. You have to figure out what your purpose is, guys. What your purpose actually is. Because only then you can do it 20 hours a day. And you'll never give it up till 80, 100 years old.
Right.
I'm an entertainer, first and foremost, but there's art involved here. And an artist has an obligation to be en route, to be going somewhere. There's a journey involved here. And you don't know where it is, and that's the fun. So you're always going to be seeking and looking and going and trying to challenge yourself. So
yes, sir.
Without sitting around thinking of that a lot, it drives you and it keeps you trying to be fresh, trying to be new, trying to call on yourself a little more,
And willing to put up with the grueling promotional schedule and everything else. You've got
the only way.
Picasso never had to do morning shows in Albuquerque.
Right. And the only way I can do this is to go where the people are. They will not come to my house. We've offered bus rides and everything. They will not.
Yeah, it's funny, man. God rest his soul. He died in like the 80s. 2004 actually. But he died before the internet really started popping, guys. If he had YouTube nowadays, he could probably want to be, if not the biggest celebrity comedian of all time, in my opinion. If he was around nowadays, oh, bro, he'd be like just the biggest comedian ever.
I have to go to Stevens Point, Wisconsin, or wherever it is, and the audiences are great, and they buy the tickets ahead of time, and they really wait for you to come there and see it. In the theaters and concert halls, it's special because the audience, they do it beforehand, and you're the whole evening. In Las Vegas, you're an afterthought. You're an also. Well, we could go gambling, we could go hookering, we could get drunk, we could go to the convention. No, let's go see this guy. And if they like you, they do, but they're not committed fans. So it's a different tone there. But it still works. You can still do some things there that you can feel good about,
Like I said, he would have loved YouTube, guys.
Do you feel your place in comedy now? Do you feel the,
And Netflix.
We've been spending a lot of time at the festival, and everybody that I would mention, hey, I'm going to do this George Carlin tribute, and their faces light up. And to a person, really, Carlin? And can I meet him? Is he around? Do you feel that place? Is that
that is growing on me. I think, longevity is a wonderful thing. Sometimes you get applause just for not being dead. When you say, it's true. When you say, I'm going to be 60, they applaud that. Wonderful, not dead, 60. But I'm getting a sense of it. When you're in planes 3 days a week, I go out every Friday, I come home every Monday. It's 3 different cities, 3 different nights, airports, hotel lobbies. And people are wonderful. I love individuals. I hate groups of people. I hate people who have a group of people with a common purpose. Because pretty soon they have little hats, and armbands, and fight songs, and a list of people they're going to visit at 3 a.m.
The Nazis, basically.
So I dislike and despise groups of people, but I love individuals. Every person you look at, you can see the universe in their eyes if you're really looking, and
That's
they're great.
I love it. That's beautiful saying. Every person that you see, when you look at them, you can see the universe in their eyes if you're looking hard enough. Beautiful quote right there, guys.
So cumulatively, I have gotten the feeling that I'm in
subcumulatively
this big family, a family life I never had, by the way. This, so to say, extended family of people who feel like you're their cousin. It's like, Georgie, 1961, I saw you. Hey, remember that? Yeah. Oh, and you know what you said? And I said, did I? Oh, yeah. So it's, it's just great. And so cumulatively, you say, well, I guess I'm in the family. I guess it's okay.
That's class. Yeah. That's class.
Does it boil down?
This is amazing. This is amazing.
After 10 HBO hours after a multitude of best-selling albums, after Grammy nominations, after Emmy nominations, after Cable Ace Awards. Does it all boil down to what you had said originally, that it's about, hey, dig me? And
Hey, look at me, ain't I cute? It's all. It's just a job is called showing off, and if you can get them to not only stop and listen, but say, "Isn't he cute? You're cute." If you can get the approval. See, in our school we didn't have grades, so we didn't have A's, B's, and C's and D's. The only A's I got, and this is a little corny, I got their attention, I got their approval, their admiration, their approbation, and their applause. And those were the only A's I wanted, and I got them.
I like
I
that.
have mine.
That's
so-
good.
And,
That ain't corny. That's bro. This is the best I've ever seen George Carlin, and I love
I just want to
this.
say that
Man,
I can't tell you enough what a pleasure this has been for me to spend some time with you and to be a part of this show. And thank you very much for all
It's been great
the
to
wonderful
get to
4
know
years.
you a little, and you are going to show us a lot, and I look forward to it.
Thank you very
Thank
much, sir.
you.
I appreciate it. George Carlin.
beautiful. That is a wholesome interview, guys. I absolutely love Jon Stewart, man. He's fire. Interviews George Carlin as well. George Carlin, R.I.P. One of the best comedians of all time. Please subscribe to my channel, guys. Also, leave in the comments down below what other George Carlin I should react to. I love you guys all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.